Welcome back to the model room. Or I guess I should say welcome me back to the model room because I've been away for like 2 weeks. Just getting back now. And unfortunately, I'm going to be going away again for a couple of weeks. So I'm going to use the time I have here to create content so that the videos continue to flow on the channel while I'm away. And today I'm getting started with What Did You Buy Wednesday? And I've got a number of things to show. Some things, I usually try and get something that is new or you haven't seen before, you may not have on the bench yet, and just kind of give you an idea of what it is. Some of the things today are things that you probably have seen before, but I have an idea of how to either acquire it a little more economically or organize better, whatever. There may be something there that interests you, so take a look. And there may even be something that I'm not real crazy about, and it's just me, but I'll show you that too, because I think that's part of What Did You Buy Wednesday. Also, a couple other things. There's a question from Jason for content creators, and it just coincidentally happened to fit something that I had, and I was preparing for this particular video. So I'm going to answer that question for Jason. That's first up. And also at the end, I had a conversation yesterday with Bob Cornell. Talk about that a little bit before we go out. So let's get started. A few days ago, Jason over at Blue Ox Model Shop asked if content creators had kits that they put on the shelf after they started them and were just like languishing there and not really progressing. And yeah, I do. Even though my channel is like 6 months old with these running videos, I started out with this green Corvette, and I did put it on the shelf because I moved over to the Rock and Roll on Wheels group build because there was a deadline. I wanted to do that. And then, of course, I had my back problem, and I was out for the whole summer, and I didn't get to do that. It ended, but started again, so I'm still doing it. I want to finish that. I want to get that going. I also want to do the Frankie Frizzo appreciation build because Frankie's a good friend of mine. I want to get that done. But I still have a real interest in this Porsche, and I just love it. I love this color, and I want to get it done. I've worked on the engine and the interior. I've done videos on that. So it was just coincidental that I happened to pull this out, and the reason was because recently I saw a Facebook post about this gloss coat, Vallejo acrylic gloss varnish. Someone used it on a model, had glowing things to say about it, that it laid down real nice, that it was real shiny, and it's acrylic, it's water-based. I wanted to try it out, and you don't even have to shoot it through an airbrush, which I don't mind doing, but you want to use an aerosol can, it's a little easier, and I thought, yeah, I want to try it. Well, I tried it, I liked it, and I thought, this is going to be beautiful on the Porsche. So I did get the Porsche out again. Jason, it's out. I want to move it forward. It's going to take a little bit of time. So little by little, it's going to move forward. But I want to show you the gloss. If you can see it here, can you see the shine on this that came from this? This is not polished or anything. This just came right out of the aerosol can. And I just think it's gorgeous. It did a great job. So, that's a big step forward for me with this model, and this Vallejo stuff is available online. You might want to give it a try. It's really good stuff. Okay, here are some 3D printed items from Z-Force Model Works, and I'll tell you what, I think these are pretty good. Now, I saw these on Irv Arter's channel, Arter Rake, and I will put a link to that. And I'm not really trying to steal something from another channel, although frankly, Irv's such a nice guy, probably wouldn't mind. But I wanted to highlight this and send you over there to see it because these are brackets for exhaust headers and also collector tubes that you can make them out of aluminum, but a 3D printed one is a lot better, I think. I think they're a lot more accurate and very easy to use. I don't have the solder that goes with them now to make the headers. I'm going to get that. These just came in. But if you go to Irv's channel, he did a few in solder, and they look terrific. I got the Ford and the Chevy, and quite frankly, I think that these are worth having. Very often when I see stuff from, 3D printers, it's good stuff. It's accurate. They do good work, but it's all wheels and tires. And it's just constantly, a different wheel, a different tire, which is fine. I don't need that many wheels and tires. I bought them in the past, but this is unique. This is different and useful. So give it a look. give it a try. We've all seen the magnetic jigs that they advertise for putting together models. Sometimes it's, scale models like cars, sometimes it's houses, diorama things, stuff like that. But if you look online at these things, they can get a little pricey. They're like $40, maybe even more than that, depends on the size. Sometimes they can be very small. We don't really need a really big one. So this is my jury-rigged version of that. What I have here is a stainless steel plate, and these are magnets. I have a set of magnets. I got, I think, 6 of them, and they're very strong magnets. They all stick together. I wanted big flat ones like this because they stand at right angles to the plate. So I just hooked it up. I lined it up with this side. I checked first to make sure the sides were at right angles. And then on this side, I have this little square that I hooked up on, and it's magnetized, yeah, but it's not hard to move around. And I put it down here to make sure that was a right angle. So I get right angles on the wheels, so there's no toe in or anything like that. As far as being straight up and down, that's why I got the tall ones, so that they would be straight up and down. You have to make sure that your wheels and tires, though, are kind of a plane on the side. If something sticks out, it can skew the tire. You got to eyeball it as well. So as you can see, it does a pretty good job here. This is the dune buggy chassis. And the one thing that I did do then was I took my square and I made sure I would true up the front end so that the chassis is straight on the plate. I also have somewhere, oh, here it is, a plastic square, and it's a big one. For those times when you're going to do like both wheels, you can lay this in here. I'm not doing it on this build because the track is different front and back. You don't really notice it when the body's on, so I'm not going to correct it, but I'm going to do the front and rear wheels separately. Now, this is from K&S. It's just steel plate. Here's the paper that came with it. K&S stock number 87183, and I think this was like $6 and change. The magnets were, I think, $13, but as I said, it came in a set of 6. I don't really need 6. Sometimes I may need 4, so I got this set. But, altogether, less than $20, and that means less than half the amount of what you would pay if you got it from a traditional hobby shop. So just a suggestion. I've come to rely a lot on markers. They, in many cases, have taken the place of paintbrushes for me. And, for a lot of people, that's kind of the trend now. Almost every company is making markers, and they're terrific. I've got these to show you. Let me get my gray card up here. These are long nib markers, so they are kind of a specialty marker. Let me pull up the red one here. It's got a very long neck and a very tiny point, so you can get into those tight places. If you've missed something in, say, an interior, you got to reach in and color something in, fill it in, do whatever. You're going to do a door handle or a line down the door, the interior, whatever. In a suspension, those tight places, they come in pretty handy. I actually outlined the floor pan of the dune buggy on the first iteration. I stripped it, but I'm going to do this again with one of these markers. They're good to have. And look, the markers themselves, I showed it in a video the first time I got it. This is the set that I got, and you can see, whoops, the points of the markers are very, very tight, very, very thin. They're good to use on a model because they're not going to just blob paint all over the place. I had this set from DCPA, and then I saw a very inexpensive set of Sharpies, and these also have a pretty tight point. They had colors that I didn't have. Some were overlaps, which was okay with me, but I thought, well, all right, let me get the other colors in case I need them. So I did that. And then I thought I was okay, but what happened was I saw a set of acrylic, these are all acrylic markers. I saw a set of acrylic markers like this. Very inexpensive. I think these were like 12 for $6 and change. And the thing is, they have a blunt end and they have a pointy end. And I wanted these too, so I got them. And then, and this is what I really want to show you. And here's one, by the way, from AK Interactive. I wanted orange. I didn't have a good orange, so I got this orange, and they've got a nice tip too. AK does the true color line. But I needed to store them, so I got this storage box, which has all of these little squares in them. And it holds, I think it holds 60 markers. I don't have 60. I don't need to fill it up. What I'm going to do, I think, is get some kind of a wedge or something to lean this over so I can see the markers better. And then they'll be right at my fingertips. And whenever I need them, I just grab them. As I said, they kind of take the place of a lot of painting duties, so they're useful to have. Now, this is something that I bought for the Dune Buggy build. This is nail art. And I'm going to put this on the hood. I'm going to take one of these palm tree decals. They're not exactly decals. I don't know if they're water slide or if they're stickers. Let me hold this steady. But I think they'll go good. There is a little bit of a raised portion on it, but not very much. Almost like if you painted something on a hood. So I'm going to give it a try. I got these actually on Etsy. I don't go to Etsy very much. Once in a while I do, so I actually have an account on Etsy. So this is something new that I'm going to try, and we'll see if it works. Sometimes on What Did I Buy Wednesday, I show some things that I think I shouldn't have bought. And frankly, in my opinion, this is one of them. This is from Display, which I used to call Display, but I looked it up. But it's a part separator, and I thought when I bought it that it was for cutting parts off the runners, right? So you have like a chrome tree, you want to get really close, and I thought that this end was very sharp. It's not very sharp. It's dull, like a screwdriver head. So it is for separating parts. You can get in there and pull things apart. I did try and cut some parts off the runners with it, and it kind of pushes between them. It'll do it. But frankly, this is something that isn't what I thought it was. That's my fault. Cost about $10, but I mean, I'll put a link to it if you have a use for it. But basically, it's kind of just a prier, and you could use a screwdriver for that to cut, parts off runners cleanly. I tend to use an X-Acto knife. That's just what it is. That's my opinion. Well, that's the roundup for now. Before I sign out, let me real quick tell you about a conversation I had yesterday with Bob Coronel from Model Car Garage. And I'm sure everybody knows Model Car Garage. Well, they've been around, I think, 30 years probably. I know I have a picture from 25 years ago at GSL with Bob and me and a bunch of other guys. So at least that long, and certainly more than that. They're great products. I just love them. I use them. I think just about everybody does or has used them at one time or another. Bob will be at the Acme show this year. He's got a new display set all ready to go, and it'll be interesting to see that. And he's working on something else that's brand new, and he's going to reveal that at NNL East in the spring. So that was terrific. And and his products are terrific. So I'm going to put a link, go take a look. If you haven't been to a site in a while, I know I find when I go there, I'm still amazed at all the products that he has. And I love looking at them because there's just so many great ideas there. In fact, when I was working on the Dune Buggy, I was doing seat belts, and I had some seatbelt hardware that had come from, I don't know, some other source, but it wasn't Model Car Garage. I don't know where I got it. I've had it, I guess, a long time. And it was terrible. I mean, it was so hard, I couldn't cut. I was using stainless steel scissors. I was using nippers and even a saw. I just couldn't get this stuff to come apart. And when I finally did, with a lot of strength, it was hard to file. I just hated it. I just sent to Bob online for a set of hardware for seatbelts from him. Came very quickly. And it was great. He's got several different types on the fret and quite a number of each type, so you have plenty to use. And I love using it. Of course, you can, use your panel liner in there to highlight it. You can paint it. You can polish it, put it on a piece of tape, rub it with some polish. There's all kinds of things you can do. And I'm not doing this because Bob is sponsoring me. He doesn't pay me. Just it came to mind because we were talking yesterday, and I thought I would put a link in just to remind people about Model Car Garage and all the stuff they have. So good stuff. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you again to my subscribers. I really appreciate it. We'll see you next time.